On Global TV News Express, Federal Capital Territory workers' strike continues despite talks with government. In business, Debt Management Office to raise 900 billion naira in January 2026 bond auction. On the foreign scene, Congolese armed forces retake control of Uvira after M23 withdrawal. And in sports, Super Eagles soar to 26th, highest FIFA ranking in 16 years. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Shehu Said. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. The strike by workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration remains unresolved despite a meeting between union leaders and government officials in Abuja. The meeting was convened to address workers' demands and find a possible resolution to the ongoing industrial action. Kabir Hassan reports.
Hopes of an immediate resolution shade after a closed-door meeting between the Joint Union Action Committee and officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration ended without a breakthrough. The workers had embarked on the strike over unresolved welfare issues, including conditions of service and other outstanding entitlements. While both sides engaged in discussions, union leaders say their concerns were not adequately addressed. Speaking after the meeting, the Vice President of the Joint Union Action Committee said consultations will continue, but stressed that the strike remains in force until workers' demands are fully met.
The reason is that the strike continues. There is no headway. If we can achieve what we want, we'll call off. If not so, we are going on, and by the grace of God, I know God will give us the energy to sustain this strike. So many. We have issue of promotion, our wage award, issue of promotion, pension, NHIS, and so many other things. So many. We have up to 22. I've already given them, and they are not upcoming. So many guys. We ask them to at least, even if it is 50% of what we have asked for, if they can do it, so they will call off the strike.
The FCTA has faced a shutdown as the Joint Union Action Committee of the FCTA embark on a strike over unmet demands. And after an emergency meeting with the FCTA officials, the union said strike continues, despite no resolutions were made, but promised to call off strike if demands are met. I am Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
Meanwhile, Special Assistant to President Bola Tinubu on social media, Dada Olusegun, says industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has significantly reduced under the renewed Hope administration. In a statement posted on his X handle, the presidential aide said the lone industrial action was a 9-day warning strike, marking a sharp departure from what he described as years of frequent strikes under previous administrations. Olusegun claimed that ASU has embarked on strike only once since 2023, attributing the developments to what he described as deliberate government interventions in the education sector. The federal government has unveiled a new impact challenge aimed at strengthening outcomes from the 3 million man training program as it moves to scale up its digital skills initiative. Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, announced the challenge in a post on his X handle, stating that more than 135,000 Nigerians across 3 cohorts have been trained during the pilot phase of the 3 Million Tech Talent 3MTT program. He said community resources have extended learning to over 300,000 learners, while the initiative has contributed to the creation of 15,000 jobs. And the federal government has rolled out applications for admission into federal technical colleges in the country and reaffirmed its commitment to free technical education and skills development. In a press statement released by the ministry's Director of Press and Public Relations, Boriowo Folashade, the government said the initiative aligned with its broader strategy to expand access to quality technical and vocational education and to equip young Nigerians with practical, employable, and industry-relevant skills. Borio said registration for the National Common Entrance Examination into federal technical colleges will open on Monday, 26 January 2026 and close on Sunday, 24th May 2026. The National Youth Service Corps has issued a travel and safety advisory to prospective Corps members of the 2026 Batch A Stream 1, urging them to prioritize their safety while traveling to their orientation camps. The advisory stated that prospective Corps members are encouraged to use registered transport companies and approved motor parks to reduce exposure to unsafe travel conditions. The Service Corps further advised Corps members to travel only during the daytime, warning against night journeys due to heightened security and road safety risks, and urged them to share their live location with family members or trusted contacts throughout their trip, noting that this could be crucial in emergency situations. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the commencement of the distribution of permanent voter cards ahead of the February 21 area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory. INEC disclosed this in a statement posted on its official X handle, urging eligible voters in the FCT to take advantage of the exercise to collect their PVCs. According to the Commission, PVC collection will take place at voters' respective registration areas and wards from January 22nd to January 26th between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says Nigeria is no longer a safe haven for drug traffickers and barons, following significant operational successes recorded by the agency over the last 5 years. Chairman of the agency, General Buba Marwa, announced this at the awards and commendation ceremony to outstanding staff of the agency in Abuja. Saadatu Garba was there for Global Television News.
At the occasion, General Buba Marwa restated the determination of the NDLEA to bring every drug baron to justice, while it continues to take all necessary measures to intercept illicit drugs coming into Nigeria.
It is therefore heartwarming to note that in the last 5 years, we recorded significant operational successes, including the arrest of 77,792 drug offenders, including 128 identified drug barons who were central to major trafficking networks.
According to the NDLEA chairman, the past 5 years have witnessed a major transformation of the agency, driven by intelligence-led operations, strengthened interagency collaboration, improved welfare, and enhanced capacity building. He commended officers and men for their resilience, courage, and professionalism in the fight against illicit drugs across the country.
I commend the resilience, courage, and professionalism of our personnel who have continued to deliver results despite operational risks and challenges. Your sacrifices have directly contributed to the measurable outcomes recorded by the agency.
While congratulating award recipients, General Marwa warned that the next phase of operations would demand greater tactical sophistication, sustained pressure, and zero tolerance for complacency. He also acknowledged the support of sister security agencies, international partners, civil society organizations, and the media, describing collaboration as key to achieving a drug-free Nigeria. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says, with renewed mandates and improved resolve, it will continue to protect public health, enhance national security, and safeguard the future of Nigeria's youth. Saadatu Garba, reporting for Global Television.
Former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has been taken into custody by security operatives shortly after his release from the Kuje Correctional Center, Abuja. Operatives of the Department of State Services reportedly picked him up immediately after he exited the facility. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission clarified that it did not re-arrest Malami. Residents of Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, are raising concerns over the continuous hike in rent prices across the city, a situation many now describe as a growing housing crisis. From Lugbe to Kubwa, Gwarimpa to Jahi, tenants say rent increases have become frequent and sudden. Ubong Usoro tells us more.
Abuja residents say living in the nation's capital is becoming increasingly difficult for average income earners. In some neighborhoods, rents have risen by over 50% within a short period, forcing many families to relocate to distant satellite towns.
The rent has been skyrocketing for a while since this dispensation came into power. So it is no longer affordable for the average individuals who earn a lower salaries because the rent has shot up. But I don't think I think government should weigh into the option so that at least people can be able to have a place to stay. Because the first thing in life is for you to have where to put your head. When you come out, you run around to look for what to eat.
In Abuja now, house rent is not smiling again. Government have to help us because I don't know how much is even people's salary that you can use that kind of amount to pay for house rent.
Housing experts say limited supply of affordable housing coupled with the rapid population growth has worsened the situation, leaving low-income and middle-income earners most affected. Residents are now calling on government authorities to strengthen tenancy regulation, promote affordable housing projects, and improve infrastructure in satellite towns to reduce pressure on the city center. As Abuja continues to expand, residents say urgent action is needed to prevent the housing crisis from worsening. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
You are watching the live broadcast of News Express. News Express continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Thank you for joining us. Our major weather highlight today is a surge of moist maritime winds affecting most of the southern region and parts of the north-central cities. And this will result in higher humidity levels and warmer conditions across these areas. For the coastal zones, early morning thunderstorms with light rains are expected to affect the southwest coast as well as Cross River and Akwa Ibom states. As the day progresses into the late afternoon and evening hours, rainfall is likely to spread more inland, affecting parts of Ondo, Osun, Ogun, Oyo, Edo, Imo, and Abia states. Up north, conditions remain mostly dry and sunny. However, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, and parts of Sokoto states will experience moderate dust haze with reduced horizontal visibilities of about 2 to 5 kilometers. Residents in the rainfall areas should watch out for brief rain showers, while aviation operators should check the NIMET e-flight folder portal for the latest weather briefings before each operations. And that's your weather update. Join us again.
Welcome back, and we begin the second part with business. The Debt Management Office, DMO, has announced that the federal government will seek to raise 900 billion naira through the reopening of 3 federal bonds in its January 2026 auction. According to the office circular issued, the auction is scheduled for January 26, 2026, with settlement set for January 28, 2026. The offering spans medium and long-term bonds, providing investors with opportunities across multiple maturities. And the Nigeria Export Promotion Council says the non-oil sector earned $6.1 billion from export in 2025, marking the highest performance recorded by the sector. The executive director of the council, Nonye Ayeni, made this known while presenting the 2025 non-oil export performance and the outlook for 2026. Business correspondent Kikelomo Okere was there for Global Television News.
The executive director of Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Nonye Ayeni, says the non-oil export earning rose to 11.5% year-on-year in 2025, surpassing the $5.46 billion recorded in 2024. She noted that export volume also increased to 8.02 million metric tons, up to 10% from the previous year, reflecting steady growth across agricultural, industrial, and mineral products. According to her, Nigeria shipped 281 non-oil products to 120 countries, including Netherlands, Brazil, and India. The council attributes this record performance to strategic government policies under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed Hope agenda, capacity building programs for exporters, enhanced compliance and monitoring, as well as strengthening partnership with development agencies.
Non-oil export performance in 2025 reached an all-time high. The non-oil export sector rose. Export rose to approximately $6.1 billion, representing a year-on-year growth of about 11.5% over and above the $5.4 billion recorded in 2024.
Looking ahead, 2026 promises further growth, she says. NEPC also plans to expand value addition, strengthen clusters, reduce exports rejects, broaden SME participation, and leverage international trade agreements such as the Nigerian UAE CEPA to open new markets. These measures aim to consolidate Nigeria's position as a leading non-oil exporter in Africa and globally.
This 2026, we will continue to recalibrate and re-strategize to be able to achieve much more superlative performance.
The NEPC boss reaffirmed its commitment to supporting Nigerian exporters and growing the non-oil export sector. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has raised Nigeria's economic growth forecast for 2026 to 4.4%, up from the 4.2% projection released in October 2025. The revised outlook was contained in the IMF's January 2026 update of the World Economic Outlook, which was unveiled. The adjustment reflects a more positive assessment of Nigeria's medium-term growth prospects amidst ongoing policy reforms and broader regional recovery. According to the fund, the upgrade to Nigeria's outlook forms part of its wider evaluation of global economic conditions, which it expects to remain relatively stable in the coming years. And we move to the foreign scene, where the Congolese army says it has regained control of the South Kivu city of Uvira following the withdrawal of Rwanda-backed M23 rebels. Government sources say pro-Kinshasa Wazalendo fighters entered Uvira's southern districts, followed later by Congolese special forces, and authorities declared the city fully recaptured. M23 fighters seized Uvira in early December, but announced last Thursday that they were handing responsibility for the city to the international community. United Nations says 3 years of war have put the Sudanese people through hell, blasting the vast sums spent on advanced weaponry at the expense of humanitarian aid and the recruitment of child soldiers. Speaking in Port Sudan during his first wartime visit, UN Human Rights Commissioner Volker Turk said the population had been subjected to horror, stating that funds that should be used to alleviate the sufferings of the population are instead spent on advanced weapons, particularly drones. Here is Zarau Nasiru's report.
Since April 2023, Sudan has been gripped by a conflict between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces that has left tens of thousands of people dead and around 11 million displaced. The United Nations estimate that more than 21 million people are facing acute food insecurity, and 2/3 of Sudan's population is in urgent need of humanitarian aid, with the UN repeatedly warning of rampant interference from foreign actors.
The Sudanese armed forces must cease these intolerable attacks against civilian objects that are indispensable to the civilian population, including markets, health facilities, schools and shelters. Again, I leave with a plea that human rights be central to building confidence and bringing this war to an end, to resuming the difficult task of building a sustainable peace. It is certainly very difficult, but it is not impossible, and I feel very much encouraged.
In addition to the world's largest hunger and displacement crisis, Talk noted that Sudan is also facing what he described as the increasing militarization of society by all parties to the conflict, including the arming of civilians. The United Arab Emirates has been widely accused of supplying the RSF with weapons, mercenaries, and political backing, which Abu Dhabi consistently denies. The army's biggest backers are Egypt and Saudi Arabia, and it has reportedly also receiving arms, including drones from Iran and Turkey. Zahra Nasr, reporting for Global TV. Since April 2023, Sudan.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has been invited to join United States President Donald Trump's Board of Peace, purportedly aimed at resolving global conflicts, as well as overseeing governance and reconstruction in Gaza. The invitation is extended as Russia's nearly 4-year war on Ukraine continues and a peace deal there remains elusive. Trump had been pushing for an end to the war, one he claimed he will stop within 24 hours of taking office a year ago. A war of attrition has been raging on the ground and peace negotiations are ongoing, but momentum has slowed again. We go to the world of sports, where the Super Eagles of Nigeria have climbed to 26th in the latest FIFA Men's World Rankings, their highest position in 16 years, following a strong run at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Eric Chelly's boys were among the biggest movers in the January 2026 FIFA ranking, rising 12 places after securing the bronze medal in the continental competition. Their previous highest ranking was in May 2010, when they were ranked 21st in the world. An upgrade of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, is expected to gulp the sum of over 24 billion naira from the 203 billion naira budget allocated to the National Sports Commission in the 2026 appropriation bill. Chairman of the Commission, Shehu Dikko, had targeted the end of 2025 to commence work on the stadium as part of broader efforts to revive Nigeria's sports infrastructure. The facility, which was opened in 2003 during the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, has been deemed unfit to host the senior national team and other major competitions, despite undergoing renovation between 2020 and 2022. And away in Europe, Mark Guehi has completed a high-profile move to Manchester City, joining from Crystal Palace on a long-term contract that runs until June 2031. Fabrizio Romano, in a post on X, stated that Mark Guehi joins Man City from Crystal Palace on contract until June 2031. The England international brings an end to his 4-year spell at Selhurst Park, where he established himself as one of the Premier League's most consistent centre-backs and a key figure in Palace's defence. And as Global TV News Express comes to an end, here is a recap of our top stories. We told you that the strike by the workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration remains unresolved despite a meeting between union leaders and government officials in Abuja. And in business, the Debt Management Office, DMO, has announced that the federal government will seek to raise 900 billion naira through the reopening of 3 federal bonds in its January 2026 auction. And on the foreign scene, the Congolese army says it has regained control of the South Kivu city of Uvira following the withdrawal of Rwanda-backed M23 rebels. And finally, in sports, we told you that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have climbed to 26th in the latest FIFA Men's World Rankings, their highest position in 16 years, following a strong run at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations just concluded in Morocco. And that's it on News Express, but a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I am Shehu Said saying thanks for being with us.